This is the story of Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was born on May 21st of 1960 in Milwaukee. His father, Lionel Dahmer, studied chemistry and later became a research chemist. His mother, Joyce Dahmer, reportedly struggled with emotional and health problems, and his parents' marriage was often tense. Dahmer later said he grew up feeling uncertain and emotionally disconnected from the family environment. As a very young child, people described him as quiet and shy rather than aggressive. Around age 4, he had a double hernia surgery, and relatives later believed he became more withdrawn afterward. Though there is no evidence the surgery caused later violence, during elementary school, he was quiet, timid, and had only a small circle of friends. His family moved multiple times, eventually settling in Rural Bath Township and later near Akron. He spent long periods alone and became fascinated with nature and animal remains. After seeing his father clean animal bones, he developed an interest in bones anatomy and decomposition. He collected roadkill, animal skeletons, and insects, and sometimes preserved remains in jars. His father initially saw it as scientific curiosity rather than danger. By his teenage years, Dahmer had become increasingly isolated and awkward socially. At school, classmates remembered him as quiet, odd, but intelligent. He played tennis briefly and participated in band for a short time, but he struggled socially and often seemed detached. Around age 14, he began drinking heavily, even bringing alcohol to school and hiding it in his jacket. He later referred to alcohol as his medicine, and drinking became a major part of his life very early. Teachers repeatedly saw intelligence in him, but his grades suffered as alcohol use worsened. During puberty, he realized he was gay, but kept it a secret from family and most classmates. At the same time, he later admitted developing disturbing fantasies centered around control and keeping people from leaving. Those fantasies gradually became more obsessive during adolescence. In 1978, his parents divorced. During the family split, Dahmer was left alone for a period in the family house after high school graduation, which later accounts described as a lonely and emotionally unstable time. Researchers do not view this as a single explanation of his later crimes, but it is often discussed as part of the larger picture. At 18, shortly after graduating high school in 1978, Dahmer committed his first murder in Ohio. He later told investigators he picked up a hitchhiker and killed him after becoming upset that the man intended to leave. He hid and disposed of the remains. After this, there was a long gap before he killed again. He briefly attended college but dropped out because of several alcohol alcoholism, and his father encouraged him to join the U.S. Army, where he trained as a medic. Even there, heavy drinking consumed and eventually led to problems that contributed to his discharge. After leaving the military, Dahmer returned home and later moved to live with his grandmother in West Alice. Family members hoped structure and support would help him stabilize. For a while, life looked more normal on the surface. He attended church with his grandmother, worked jobs, and helped around the house. But underneath, his alcoholism continued and his fantasies intensified. He began spending time at bars and bathhouses and in Milwaukee, and later admitted becoming obsessed with control and preventing people from leaving him. He began drugging people to keep them unconscious. Beginning in the late 1980s, Dahmer resumed killing. Between 1978 and 1991, he murdered 17 boys and men, most in Wisconsin. He often met victims in bars, malls, or public places, lured them back to his apartment, drugged them, and killed them. Police later discovered evidence of body preservation and dismemberment. Some crimes involved necrophilia and cannibalism. Several failures by authorities helped him avoid arrest for years. In one widely criticized case, police returned a teenager victim to Dahmer after misunderstanding the situation. The victim was later killed. The case became a major example of police failure and bias. In 1991, one intended victim escaped and alerted police. Officers searched Dahmer's apartment and found evidence linking him to multiple killings. He confessed in detail. After arrest, the case shocked the county because neighbors often described him as quiet and ordinary. At trial, lawyers argued over whether he was legally insane. Although mental illness was discussed, the jury ruled he understood right from wrong and was legally sane. He received multiple life sentences in prison. While in prison, Dahmer repeatedly became religious and was baptized in 1994. Another inmate, Christopher Scarver, killed him during a prison work detail at a correctional institute in Wisconsin. Dahmer died at age 34. People often asked what made him become who he was. Experts don't agree on one cause, Common factors discussed includes severe alcoholism, isolated during fantasies, family instability, emotional problems, and physiological disorders. But researchers constantly warn that there is no single event or childhood experience that creates a serial killer. Millions of people experience different childhoods and never become violent criminals.